All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, HASHAM, YAHAWASHI, HASHAM, HaKakodash. I want to give double honors to my apostles at Great Millstone who taught me his truth, and a sincere Shalom to the elect out there teaching his truth in all honesty and sincerity in these last days. Okay? It's an economy update, and just want to touch up on a few things here. Earlier today, they had the inflation numbers come out, and the target was, or the expectation was 3.6% year over year, and it ended up being 3.7% year over year. Now, when you look at a lot of the other things going on with the economy, okay, yes, we're still feeling the effects of inflation, especially, when you look at sugar and stuff up here and gas, copper, but for the most part, inflation's cooled off and we're going through a deflationary spiral. Okay. Now, this isn't just happening in the United States. This is not just happening in the United States. China is going through serious deflation now. Their currency is down significantly. Okay. Over the past few months. And they're about to go through basically what the United States went through and Europe went through in 2008. Okay. Where a lot of their real estate prices are about to go to shit. Okay. They have all these cities that were built that nobody's dwelling in them. You had Evergrande file for bankruptcy. Finally, we've been watching it for like a year. So that's the thing with these things sometimes. The problems will start and persist for a while, then it'll be a while before we actually feel the effects. Okay, but nobody ever took their eyes off it. Who knew how serious it was. So they're about to go through their situation, and it doesn't matter whether it's America, Europe, or China. Okay, if any of those main hubs goes through serious economic turmoil, you're going to feel it around the world. Okay, China can go through a recession. We'll feel it here in America because the countries are what they say connected at the hip. Okay, so what goes on in one ends up affecting the other. But I just want to go over this list here. Okay, and then we're gonna elaborate and link it to the scriptures. Okay, this is from a tweet from Charlie Bolello. Commodity price changes over the last year. You see, sugar is up 46%. Okay, which it's a good thing. Well, hey man, it's spiritual as hell, man. It's spiritual that the apostles have been pushing brothers to clean up their diet. Okay, especially that sugar, man. All that extra sugar and processed carbs. Okay, so we shouldn't really even be affected by this. I mean, unless you eat fruit, but hey, fruit isn't included in this sugar price. Okay. I noticed that fruit's actually cheaper this year. Silver's up 20%, which is good for brothers that are invested in that. Okay. Gold, gasoline, copper. Okay. The US CPI, which is basically the core inflation number, was up 3.7%. And then you have all these idiots that said that, it missed expectations by 1/10 of a cent. And they act like crypto is going to start pumping because of it. But see, people that say that are just they're either stupid or they're trying to manipulate you. Okay? Because you look at the volume and the overall trade volume is nothing. Overall trade volume is nothing right now. If anything, they'll do what they've been doing the past few years. They'll say, oh, crypto's going to pump. And then they'll all dump on you, man. Just like last time, Bitcoin was around this price that it's at now, 26, 27,000, and pumped all the way to 31,000. And then the big boys dumped on you because that's what they do. It's all a game, man. This game is just as much psychological as it is physical. Okay? WTI crude. I believe that's West Texas Instruments. Brent crude. Okay, now we're getting into the deflation. Okay? We have inflated prices here, and then we have deflated prices here. Now, in this lesson, I want to get into deflation, man, because they did everything that they could to stop this inflation. Okay? But now we're going to see a whole different beast rear its ugly head. Aluminum, 4%, heating oil, 8%, soybeans, 9%, cotton, 14, zinc, 22, corn, 31, coffee, 31, wheat, 32%, natural gas, 67%. Now, you as a consumer are not going to see these drastic drops in prices. Okay? You are not going to see these drastic drops in price. You might see a little bit, okay? But because a lot of these businesses have to make up for all that money that they lost with that out of control inflation. Okay? So they've tamed the beast, and then another beast reared its ugly head, man. Okay, that's exactly what happened, because I want to explain some things here. Let's get to scripture. Okay? Second Ezra 16 and 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. So a lot of people, a lot of businesses may think that, okay, it's over. We weathered the storm. But something else is going to come, man. Okay? Deflation. And honestly, when you look at history, it's just as much, if not more, difficult to fight than inflation. Okay? Once it gets out of control. The Great Depression was deflationary. It wasn't inflationary. Prices got so low that businesses couldn't keep workers employed because there was no money coming in. Okay, and suppliers went out of business. We're gonna elaborate on that in a minute by going back to that graphic, that tweet. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Okay, so all these things are happening at once. Meanwhile, people are chilling because they're on social media or because the price of eggs or bread went down or whatever. Okay? But for Jake, it's back to smoking blunts, which he never stopped in the first place. But let me explain a few things here. Okay? Let's say your Maxwell house or your Folgers or whatever. Just analogies here. Okay, I'm just using straight up analogies here. Say you own some coffee, a coffee brand or whatever. Okay? You have to get your coffee beans from a supplier. Okay, you have to get it from a supplier. Now, let's say you have a backlog of inventory built up because of the inflation. Nobody could afford to buy so much coffee. So you have this drastic drop in prices. Again, this is year over year. So let's say you got 3 months of coffee that you bought at a more expensive price. Okay? Let's say you got all that extra coffee. What are you going to do? You're going to lower your prices so you could buy the coffee at a cheaper price. Okay, you got to get rid of that backlog of inventory. right? You got to get rid of that big backlog of inventory. Now, what happens is, let's say you have Maxwell House has a choice between two different suppliers, and the one supplier tries to undercut the other one. So you get a race from suppliers on undercutting each other. Okay, so that they can get rid of their inventory and continue business. Okay, so basically, a lot of these suppliers are willingly going to lose money in order to move goods and services. That's the problem with deflation, is that prices come down so fast that the suppliers can't make any profit. Okay, which in turn does what? Hours get cut at jobs, positions, people get laid off. Okay, and some of these suppliers are going to start going out of business. They're going to start going out of business. Look at natural gas down here. National Fuel had to give all their workers a big raise. Okay, they had to give all their workers a big raise, and they were charging us out the you know what, or up the you know what. I mean, my heat bill this winter, for those brothers in the Northeast, you understand, my heat bill this winter was almost as much as my damn rent. Okay, and I did everything I could. I cut the thermostat down. I put the plastic on the windows. Okay, put the what is it, the little weather seal things and the door frames, thermal tape or whatever it is, and it was still looking like a rent check. Okay, you know. So how do you think that's going to look to their bottom line? How do you think that's going to look to their shareholders? Okay, when they're not bringing in as much money. Okay, so going back to the coffee analogy, all these suppliers have to undercut each other to get your business. Because the middle guy isn't just going to keep buying the same product if he could get it 12% cheaper somewhere else. Now, again, these numbers are figurative. Okay, obviously, coffee ain't down 31% over the last 3 months, but generally, you have a backlog, or even wheat, in the terms of pasta or bread or whatever. Generally, you have a backlog of about 3 to 4 months of supply in the economy. Okay, some areas of the economy maybe up to 6 months. Okay, so they have to adjust accordingly. So meanwhile, us consumers are saying, yeah, everything's getting cheaper. I got more spending money, until them new earnings reports come out and the suppliers that supply the goods have to cut employees. Okay, so everything's good. Well, you got your job, but you got to think about your neighbors too. Okay, just because you kept yours don't mean that the guy next to you ain't struggling. Don't mean that the company in general ain't struggling. Okay, and then it cascades downward, and that's what we're about to see, man. Okay, so all these job openings, a lot of them are going to be slowing down, man. The labor market's about to slow down, and there's already proof that it's happening. The labor market's slowing down, man. Okay. Zephaniah 1 and 11. Howl, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off. Okay. Now the merchant peoples are about to be cut down because that's who the suppliers and the distributors and that they have to adjust for this rapidly changing economy. Okay. So they're going to have to make cuts just to survive, and some of them aren't going to survive. That's the whole point of this lesson, man. There's one thing that investors and businesses thrive off of is stability, and there's no price stability. We saw drastic inflation over a period of what, a year and a half, 2 years, and now we're about to see rampant deflation, which is a whole different other beast to fight. And the only way to really fight it is to what? To lower interest rates and to print money all over again, which makes the inflation come back. You see? You see? So that's what's about to happen, man. Okay? This is Ezekiel 7 and 12. The time is come, the day draweth near. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. For the seller should not return to that which is sold, although they were yet alive, for the vision is touching the whole multitude thereof. And you could tell that this whole world is at a breaking point. Okay, you can tell that this whole world is at a breaking point, man. People are so fucking stressed out over the things going on right now. You remember, well, hey, you have a lot of businesses that are saying that if they do the lockdowns again, that they're just going to straight up shut up shop, because it's just not worth it. A lot of small business owners are just saying it's just not worth it, man. It's not worth the stress. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth it to find workers. Okay. And the quality of the workers suck now. You pretty much need uh, uh, two people to do one person's job these days. Because everybody wants to be on their fucking phone all day. Everybody wants to bullshit. You got a bunch of women working these jobs. All they want to do is fucking gossip. Okay. They make mistakes all the time. You know, that's why it's just supposed to be men at the fucking workplace, which shall not return, neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. Okay. So this economy, okay, is about to come to a standstill, man. I was talking with brothers a couple weeks ago at my camp, man. I said, man, we're about to see a recession within the next 6 months. It's going to happen. Okay. They rose rates too high, too fast. Just like the scripture prophesies that there shall be uh, no work for Egypt. Okay. Which I believe it says the branch or tail shall not do. Okay. So the top or the bottom. And then you have the oncoming issues with AI. Okay. In fact, let me get this scripture first. Slack it. So Esau's got, so we live in an ungodly society where everybody's chasing the bag. But Esau Edom is making it more and more difficult to chase that bag. Okay. Basically, if you don't have the proper skill set, it's very difficult to make ends meet. Because this is the only time in history where um you need more than one source of income to live. Okay. You need more than just a job to sustain your family. Okay. Because up until this point, most people, they would go get out of high school or college and they would work the same job their whole life. But things are moving so fast now that, okay, this whole retire at the same factory that you started at, that doesn't exist anymore. Okay. So there's a lot of uncertainty, man. This is Psalm 10 and 8. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, and the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. And that's who always bears the brunt of this. Okay. It's always the poor. It's always the working class. It's always the people uh, with just enough to make it by. Okay. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. I mean, just look at the lockdowns. What happened, man? Just look at what happened with the lockdowns. A lot of businesses went under and never returned, and it was done by force. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. Okay, he doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net, and we're about to see a new net, and it may be in the form of UBI, which is universal basic income. Because if you remember back during the pandemic, okay, Esau Edom was giving out stimulus checks. He was giving people unemployment. That was that safety net that he created to keep the people under his thumb, keep them under his control. Okay. Except this time, you're not going to have the freedom to take those FRNs and do what you want with them. You know, you're not going to use that money as a way to advance other opportunities. You know, certain investments, things like that. You know, a lot of people were buying uh, survival gear and shit like that. A lot of people were investing in crypto and precious metals during that time. He's not going to allow you to do that because next time the net more than likely is going to come in the way of a CBDC. Okay. So he's going to have you locked into that society, man, or into that system where they're going to determine what you can and can't purchase and how much you can and can't purchase with that CBDC. And eventually, once the general public gets on there, okay, that's when he's gonna strike again, man. That's when his big strike is gonna come in the form of the C hip when you're all drawn into the net. All right. But with that, I believe I've proven the point. Till next time, shalom.